All right, family. Black Power. Black Power is the truth hour with General Sarasu said he kicked back. Get your mind ready for some information that's guaranteed to be heavy. You already know, family, we got some fire this Saturday morning. Ancient Libyans and the Kemetic connection to pre-dynastic Egypt. We wanted to drop this information showing that not only the southern extremities of Africa, but also North Africa is indigenous, blacks, Africans from the top to the bottom. And so this is going to be one powerful presentation. Before we get started, family, we got some fire over at Patreon dropping. We got the, let me get this up in here, family. We got the Shabaka stone. We're going to be talking about one of the greatest scientific documents in stone from the ancient world, the Shabaka stone, dealing with the creation of the universe as given by the Pharaoh Shabaka. This is powerful. I want you to be in the house. Also, we dropping on Patreon Hitler in ancient Egypt, showing how the Germans, when they went into Egypt, how they come out with so much technology that advanced, modern military. We're going to see what it was that they got out of Egypt. Make sure you check us out, family. Also, KingSeti.com online marketplace. Make sure you get over there, get you some DVDs, T-shirts, hoodies. We got that for you. You can also become a member of General Seti, Sarasu Seti's YouTube page. And make sure you get a video, a thumbs up, like it because you love it. Share it with your family and friends. Comment. Just don't say nothing stupid because you will get banned. And so, yeah, I've been out here putting some work in, family. We talking about this, this palette that you see behind us. I got some up close and personal, images of this palette. This is called the battlefield palette, you see, or the Libyan palette. Now, this comes out of pre-dynastic Egypt, and the fact that we could say that pre-dynastic, and you could see the level of artistry, even in pre-dynastic Egypt, the level of artistry where they carving into these stones, with very precise artistic skills. And what we are looking, so they found these palettes, and it's a small stone document where they depicting certain events, historical events. This one happened to be a battle, for the supremacy of what we call Lower Egypt. And so, this was one of the earliest battles to be recorded in the ancient world. But what's very precise is the fact that, those who were defeated are also depicted as Africans. Now, the individuals that you see in the back, these are supposed to be Libyans, you see. These are supposed to be Libyans, and so this battlefield palette is also called the Libyan palette, okay? And so, now this is showing you, even in ancient times, that Northern Africa looked something totally different than what it looked today, and that the indigenous peoples of all of Africa, even up into the north, had African features, characteristics. Now, I'm going to put this one in here. Nah, let me take that out of there. You can see here, this is the top of that palette. Now, you got two sides of the palette. Now, I could see that they're very short in stature. Now, you get to talking to the AI and shit, and they're going to tell you that's been exaggerated. Okay, they're going to tell you that has been exaggerated, that they tall, and I don't believe that. You see, you cannot listen to these people. You have to look at it for what it is. It very much looked like these are Twa people, okay, very short in stature. And you can see the curl in their hair. You can see they got woolly hair on their head. Now, what's crazy, because they're saying that these are Libyans, and they very well could be Libyans. They very well could be coming from the area of what Libya is today, but they look African, period. They don't look, they are African. You can even look at the nose. It's very African. But now when you look at, this was found in the tomb of Seti I. And these are supposed to be the races of that day, okay? The races of that day, and which the very first one is a Libyan. The very first one is a Libyan. And so when you look at that, and then you look at the one we just showed here, that's not the same people. That's not the same people. So obviously, either the latter one is a fake, which is very well, this one could be, pretty much a fake, because, when you don't have no place in history, you try to write your place in history. You see, you try to give yourself, there's no way you gonna make me believe. And I asked the AI, I said, well, what is this? I asked it, why did, the ancient Libyan look totally different than the one in the New Kingdom? And it came up with some crazy answers. And so I put in there, I asked the question, why do the carvings of Libyans look African in pre-dynastic Egypt, while paintings of Libyans in the New Kingdom look foreign? They look white. And so what it says was, this difference is not accidental, racial, or contradictory. It reflects time, politics, and artistic purpose. See, right there, I'm not going to let nobody implant their own, belief of what I'm looking at. You see, because obviously it acknowledged that, yes, this one don't look, even though they supposed to be the same people, they look totally different. Okay? And so I don't let them inject like they Imhotep or they actually an ancient Egyptian. The only person that can tell you that is one who is of the people. You can't let no damn computer tell you, oh, this is what, as if the consciousness of the computer is the consciousness of ancient Africa. You can't let them overrule what you see and what you believe. So it says early Libyans are shown as fellow Africans. They acknowledge that because they, by now, once the chat learn who you are, they know they can't come with no fake, no fake information. So it says early Libyans are shown as fellow Africans because they were culturally close. They weren't just culturally close, they was also physically close. New Kingdom Libyans are shown as foreigners because Egypt had to visually define an enemy. Okay, so whatever that variable, so they say they just change what they look like to visibly show them as a foreigner or as an enemy. You could do that, but I doubt very seriously if you're going to change the whole phenotype to look something totally different than what these people's is. You know what I'm saying? I don't see no reason for that. So either this is fake, you see, this is fake. They're trying to rewrite the narrative. They're trying to rewrite the narrative because even when you think about the New Kingdom of Egypt, it still primarily had only been conquered, where they say the high schools people came in and they was there for I don't know how long, maybe 200-300 years that they were in there. But there's no way they could have brought that many people to really change a continent. You see what I'm saying? You're not gonna change no continent. You're gonna come in, you'll have an immediate effect, but after a period of time, they're gonna suck that up. You understand what I'm saying? Spit that out, and really, I can't see, now with the air being there for thousands of years, that's something different. You see, that's something different. Okay, and they brought in, where you got something like 80 million Arabs in Africa now. So, I mean, even though that's still, when you deal with 1 billion people, even then it might happen, but after a while, even 80 million compared to 2 billion, that shit gonna get swallowed up and spit out. You see, when you're dealing with cold black, and so it's saying early period, pre-dynastic Old Kingdom, Libyans as close kin. Now, we also know that what's Libya is also was Carthage. You see, also Carthage, and as I got into the AI, it admit that the Libyan and the Carthaginian and was very close. That even though the Phoenicians came and from Canaan, which was today is Israel, they came in, and it said that the dominant population was the Libyans. So even though they came in, so they intermixed with the Libyan, but they both was black. So at that point, we let that be. You see, and so why are we saying that? Because that earlier pre-dynastic is giving you a view of what the Carthaginian look like, what the Etruscans look like, you see, and so they can't have the dominant Mediterranean population looking like no African. That's going to rewrite, or not rewrite, but in essence, set straight what these people have put out about North Africa, even the Southern Europe, especially around that Mediterranean. So it's saying that the early period pre-dynastic Old Kingdom Libyans are close kin. Now it's setting the record in the pre-dynastic and early dynastic periods. Let me drop this in here. Let me put this in here so y'all can see some of this other. You see, and you can see here, this is also at the bottom of the palette. You can see that the Pharaoh is putting it on them. Now this is a war against this is black people. This is black people. They they in our land. And I mean they in Kemet. They have come into Kemet, and they have moved on the land irrespective of what the Nile Valley Africans then told them, that you can't be on this land. You come from over here. You see, even though they're African, you come from over here. And we don't want you over here. And so when they don't want to listen, they came down there to set the record straight. And that's what happened. But the Libyan was also became an Egyptian. They also became nationalistically. They were African. Some of the latter dynasties were also Libyan. And when you see one of the pharaohs, his name was Shanshak. He was African. I seen a statue. He looked like any other Egyptian. You see, so they were Africans. But they didn't have the ability, because, a lot of the Africans up the river, they were political. They didn't, and so they didn't lend the support to the Libyan dynasties, like dynasty that may have come from Waset, Thebes, and, Luxor and areas up in there. They didn't lend them that support. So, in the Libyan dynasties, it was more fragmented in the political sphere where they didn't support them, like a king that had come from the south of the Nile Valley. You see, but but technically they lived as Egyptians, and that's why I have to say that Egyptian is also a nationality where where Africans of many various areas, of Libya, of Nubia, of Punt, which was down further into the the beginnings of the Nile. And understand why I had to put this out here, because what it's showing is that the African or the people that's in these areas today are not the indigenous Africans that were there in the ancient world. Okay? And so a lot of these people have had, Arab and all of that. And so come into their bloodline and they got mixed loyalties with, the Arabs and other peoples and shit. And so when they speak, people thinking, oh, these are the ancient Libyans or these are the ancient Ethiopians. No. And so you got to, with the things that are coming out of their mouth today, you got to check that and know that, this is a mixed loyal individual that has blood of the oppressor, and they okay with that. They want to speak for the oppressor. They want to speak for the oppressor. And so, some of them, they very loyal to Islam and all of that. That comes with that blood. That comes with that mixed loyalties, you see. And so they don't speak as one of the ancient Africans. They don't do that, you see. But so when I see, and now another thing, when we talk about, even in the Bible, and it's clear that when they talk about the sons of Ham, you got Cush, you got Mizraim, which is Egypt, you got Put, which is Libya. Okay, it's been acknowledged as we think it was Punt, but really Foot was acknowledged to be Libya. So it showed that in Canaan. So that shows that those four nations were blood brothers. You see, they were blood brothers. So that would bring Foot, the ancient Libyans, into the bloodline of Africa. Okay, so we got to quit thinking that, somehow that all of Africa was populated first by African people. And as the AI has said that, do you know that according to science, almost 80% of man's walk on the planet was in Africa? You see, 80% of man's walk on this planet was in Africa. Then you got to think, and then we went outside of Africa. And I'm not into all the craziness about evolving into this, that, and I'm not into that, because my mind cannot, conceive that, right? Or will ever conceive it, because our peoples is still there in the land. So I don't believe we've always looked the way we look. We'll always look the way we look. And if you go into Asia, and you still see African people there today. And so if there was any change in why they didn't change, they still there. They look African. They still, you see what I'm saying? And so even outside of Africa, the 20%, damn near 10% of the 20% outside of Africa, according to the science, we still look like Africa. So you got this 10% of what all this other, whatever came to be in that little small 10%, and then they become the one that become the pinnacle of civilization. In that little bit of 10% of the time that they've been here, and they wasn't even totally, civilized in that aspect, still not. But even in that little 10%, they was able to gain all this knowledge and come in and teach us. And we've been on the planet damn near 90% more time than they've been on the planet. And here they is coming back in telling us that they brought civilization. We got to wake up. We got to wake up to this. And so now what's crazy, that part of Libya was also called Cyrene. Okay, Cyrene. And so one of the supposedly the guy, and I don't get off into that, you know, but the guy Simon of Cyrene, who supposedly carried the cross of Christ, and they always depict him, but Cyrene is in Libya. So that right there acknowledges the fact that in the Bible, the Libyan, the Cyrenians were black. So even in the Bible, that's why there are certain things in the Bible that, you know, even though they historically, they tell them, when it comes to some of the geography, they slip up, and because at that time they didn't, that wasn't necessarily the lie that they was telling. They was on a different lie. You see, they had not adopted Egypt. They hadn't into Egypt yet. They had not went into the sacred tombs, King Tut. So they didn't really understand ancient Egypt until Napoleon and the, you know, the British and all of them went in. And once they realized what was really there, then they began to change the narrative. But they had always looked at Egypt as being black. You see, they didn't accept Egypt like Greece and Rome as being part of a European history. You see what I'm saying? They did not. And so most definitely the ancient, yeah, they look twa, they do. But they'll tell you that's exaggerated, you see? But anyway, we're going to keep tapping in on this. We got some more videos we're going to tap into this morning. So y'all stay with me. You feel me? This is General Sarasun Seti. Make sure y'all get over there to Patreon because, man, this Shabaka stone going to be deep. That Shabaka stone, the science, and that's me at the British Museum, you know, at the Shabaka stone. That's going to be deep. Make sure you tap in, and Hitler in ancient Egypt. And we're going to show you how, you know, once these, you know, Napoleon and all, how the Europeans' technology really began to advance to where it is today. What did they learn in ancient Egypt? So get on over there, family. I'll see y'all in a minute. Arm yourself with knowledge. Bang on that wicked beast daily. Liberation through African education and confrontation. Boom. Black power.